Okay, well, we can call this meeting to order. This is the Town of Ulysses Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. It's February 7th. It's 5:30 PM. Can we go around and just do introductions?
I'm Carl Plankowski, the new assigned lake member. I live down off of Teganic Boulevard. So I'm also an alternate member on the planning board. So Rich Goldman, we considered it last September to put me on there, but he wanted me to get up to speed on the planning board first. I have absolutely no government experience or planning board experience or comprehensive committee experience. A new retired old guy looking for things to keep me busy, so.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, Klein, planning board.
Neil Stevenson, town planner.
San Marino Conservation Sustainability Advisory Council. Rose Hanson, village person. I can't remember what I'm supposed to be. Okay. Allison Weaver, committee member.
Elizabeth Weatherby, committee member and town board member.
I'm Ann DePetta. I'm a committee member and I'm chairing the committee. So nice to meet you. And I know we have a couple people on Zoom.
Hi there, Diane Cohen, Town of Ulysses, by day, Finger Lakes for Use. Good to see you all.
And is that Caitlin on the phone or? We can't tell. I know, 2002-0002.
I think like super good glasses.
Yeah.
Yep, that's her. And Caitlin is.
Hi,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
it's Caitlin. It took me a minute to unmute.
Great, okay. So our next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So did everybody get to see the agenda? Okay, do we have any changes or updates? Comments, things to say?
No, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you, Mo. Thanks, Roxanne. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, moving on. Next item, item number 3 is approval of our past minutes. So did everybody get to see the past minutes? Did we have any changes, comments, amendments?
I know Roxanne had provided a few.
Yeah,
in
I
an
sent,
email.
yeah, I sent some.
Yeah, do we want to go over that? in
Yeah, I mean, I
meeting?
didn't write exact words, just because I didn't know if you wanted me to do that or not. Sometimes people want that, sometimes they don't. I just wanted the particular thing conveyed differently. Sure, so the first one I suggested was just under old business items, web pages and SharePoint. To include that a few of the committee members expressed they could not yet access SharePoint through the link that was sent. So we'll keep track of that when it works. And then under, you want to just go through them one at a time and see what people think, or do you want me to go through?
Yeah, does any, well, I don't know, how would you normally do it? I don't know if you would discuss or if you want to check in.
I mean, I think that
Whatever works for you guys.
adding that to the minutes, I'm fine with, and then maybe we bring that up in discussion in a little bit to just make sure we're tracking who has access and who doesn't.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess we can just do one at a time. So under new business items, next steps. The third paragraph that started, Marino stated that, I'm asking to edit it to reflect that I said that residents had expressed concern to me that the comp plan steering committee keep in mind that there are many families in the Ithaca City School District. And so when we post the student survey responses, we indicate that these are from a Trumansburg Central School District High School group specifically. And Liz did, that is noted that Liz said that later, but it's just that the way it currently reads, it could be interpreted that people contacted me with their concern that their children aren't included, and that's not at all what I'm saying. Just saying that I wanted to reiterate that. So is that one. And then the 6th paragraph, which starts, Marino spoke about, I thought we should just change special election to referendum because it really wasn't an election, it was a referendum. We didn't elect anyone.
Yep.
And then in the last one, which is the longer text, I sent this in an email to everyone, but that I'd like to include after it says Tygeson mentioned that item. I'd like to include that the committee agreed at the January meeting to discuss both the photo project idea and Marino's suggestion that the committee hold a kickoff type public meeting in the first quarter of 2024, pre-consultant, where people can come and learn about the comp plan update project, share their ideas to capitalize on the recent public interest coming off the referendum vote. Marino voiced that this is our community's comprehensive plan and it is appropriate for the steering committee to do this. As was outlined in the timeline, the town board approved of the process in 2022, which we did discuss at that meeting. And then Tepeta reminded all that when this committee was formed, the commitment was 12 to 18 months. We're now at 12 months. So I thought that was all useful to include. And it was actually about 7 or 8 minutes of our discussion, an hour meeting. So I'd like that included. If the committee agrees.
Yeah, I'm okay with making those updates. So Molly, would you then make the updates and just reissue the draft, meeting notes after we approve?
I'll just save time now, if you want, I can fix the draft.
Well, I mean, we can approve it as amended.
Yeah. Are you guys all?
You don't have to do it right.
Everybody okay with that?
I mean,
I
I send
wasn't
the
here
text
that
and
meeting,
email.
so I can't vote for it, sorry.
Okay.
Well, you could, but.
I could, yeah, but it wouldn't be proper.
Well, I mean, I would make a motion to approve as amended,
With the suggestions.
with suggestions from Roxanne's email sent yesterday.
I'll second it.
Great, thank you, Rose. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I'll
opposed?
abstain.
Okay,
Stay.
okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
guys, okay.
Thanks, Molly, for doing such a good job at the minutes over.
Yeah, and thanks Roxanne for all that input. It's great. Okay, was there anything else? Sorry, Roxanne, was there anything else on your list for?
It was
Wherever.
just about the.
That's
and
it,
asking about, or just commenting that I still can't access.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Though I can.
So we just motioned to approve the minutes as amended. Do we have do we have to do anything else with the minutes? That's it. Any other comments for me? Okay, all right. So, next item then is privilege of the floor. This is the time where folks from the public can join us and express their thoughts, their ideas, their concerns. 3-minute limit per person. Do we have anybody out there that wants to say anything? No. All right, moving on. Old business. This is 5A, RFQ update. Niels, I'm assuming that will be you to lead us in that discussion.
So was published and we put in a request that we get some sort of heads up that someone was going to submit, like a firm was going to submit on the 26th. So far, I've only had one firm we are going to submit. There's been a lot of other chatter though from other firms asking basic questions. But this Friday, we took a firm stance. So this Friday, the 9th is the deadline for submissions. So one of the questions I had for the committee is there a number threshold that we want to have? Like how many firms do we want to have before and or if we do a resubmittal? So we can go out, say, I don't know, whatever number that might be that the committee decides on. If we don't meet that threshold, then we can just, if you give me, say, go for it, I can reissue it or extend it, either one. And then if that's the case, it'd be good to have a direction. I have some suggestions on timeline directions if need be, but just in case we only get 1 or 2, is that enough?
Okay.
So that's,
Yeah, well, let's start with that part of the conversation first, and then we'll talk about timeline if that has to change. So.
I would say at least 3.
So that's
Are there rules that we have to have a minimum? No,
No,
I mean, they could be excellent. I don't know if you can read them and then decide we want to hope for something better. That's probably not what you're supposed to do.
well, it's also the budget because if you have three, you're gonna have three different prices. So at least you know if you're in the ballpark, if we only have one, and they say it's, they're gonna charge $200,000. Well, that's what we pay, but if you have three, it might be a little bit different. It might be one a little lower, maybe, comparable.
And maybe you're not waiting for three, but you're at least trying a second time to get by three, because, if you're just never gonna get three, then
Well,
not-
right.
also not good, yeah.
It's very possible
August
we
and
won't
stuff.
get three, we might
Yeah.
only get one.
Right, right, but to at least try a second round, I think makes sense if we don't get at least, I would say two, but three is fine too.
Were we expecting more?
I was hoping to get that. I mean,
Yeah, I would've thought, I don't know.
Hoping and expecting is two different things here.
I'm like,
So do we need to talk about where it was posted or,
okay. I mean, we did a fairly broad outreach, even on a national level. So we did also in upstate, we have, is it in Albany, or the APA
Mhm.
upstate chapter in Albany? But it was also published on a national level, APA's national level, so broad outreach. However, I will say I was hoping to put notice in some cities like Rochester, Buffalo, that have more firms. We got a feedback that was gonna be almost $500 for one day in the Democrat Chronicle, which I thought was excessive.
$500, yeah.
Similarly with Buffalo, it was under 300. Conversely, we had Syracuse and Albany, which was about 15 to 20, which is cheaper than the Ithaca Journal.
yeah,
So it's a mix.
Are there rules regarding solicitation, like, can you pick up phones and call people and?
So did reach out to town council Nathan, and he said that is appropriate. We can do that.
Like, we had weird rules in school too, in terms of bidding, and,
right,
so I just wasn't sure.
good question, Roxanne?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, but carrying on to that, I mean, I thought that could happen, and also like it seems like it's desirable to have a firm and they're otherwise good, that's local enough that they would come here, some they, are somewhat familiar with the size of our town and everything, and so maybe we can do some direct outreach to some of the firms that have done things before. They've, done recently, they've helped Guidance Comp Plan, they've worked with us, they work with the village some. And in doing that outreach, perhaps find out if they haven't bid so far, did they see it? If they saw it, what the barrier that they feel like is we could, I think we have justification to ask at least around for firms that have done that, because I think rather than just re-release it, it's worth trying to find out if there's a reason no one's bidding or one person's on the bidding. Is everybody busy? Do they feel it's too over, it's outside their scope? I don't know.
Yeah,
When we did the heat pump installation here, we had a similar sort of thing. We didn't get hardly any bids. And we did some reach out and try to find out was there some barrier, the way that it was written, some issues, so that was actually helpful. So just a thought before we just re-release it and wait
Yeah.
another month.
is
Try
that
to
something
find
that
out
can happen
what
before
the issues
Friday?
are.
Like, I mean, I mean, the direct outreach, is that something that can happen like tonight, tomorrow?
Can I make the suggestion that we extend it a week? Because the finalist I'm sorry, the shortlist is February 23rd, so can we extend it another week, because we still have time before we go to that phase? So if we can extend it another week, maybe we can do some outreach and whatever.
Mhm.
I think that's
Would that be acceptable?
I think extending it a week or two would be a good idea while we're following up. I know my company, every Wednesday, we get an email, it's called RFP report, I think that's an internal thing, and it popped up on, so it hit whatever,
Mm,
however my company pulls RFPs down from the street, like, we got it.
Mm.
I told them couldn't apply.
Yeah.
But I
So
think, yeah,
it is out on the street, and I think calling a couple of the firms, like the local ones, like Roxanne said, the one that Dryden or some of the other local, the 10 municipalities might not be a bad idea to just see and get a feel for why they haven't been responding. But I think we have to extend it. Because that also gives whoever has shown interest a little bit more time. And that'd be unfair to require them to submit something on Friday, but then allow somebody else to open and submit
Yeah.
something in 2 weeks.
That's
So
true.
we need to be strategic and setting something
Well-
that's expected.
Do we make a motion to extend it, what, 2 weeks? Or a week?
What's the 23rd? We were supposed to like have something done before then, right?
What did you say? You said, well, what you were referring to was that we, in our timeline, we had said we would have a short list by the 23rd to consider.
Yeah,
what you meant
that's,
by the
that's what,
short list?
well, that's what the
Yeah.
timeline is. I
think
don't,
that's
I mean,
what-
we can probably
I was
change it.
just
I don't
asking
think it's
what-
like
what
written.
What was the 23rd? So it was that in the timeline, short
Yeah.
list.
So that would be actually 2 weeks. We can probably do 2 weeks.
Because if we only have 3, then we have the short list.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point to just go for, if we know that we probably need to do this, we should just do it so that the group that we know is interested gets that benefit of
Mm.
a little extra time to prepare. So how do we?
I think we should do 2 or 3 weeks at the minimum. I don't wanna extend
I do-
this. But if there is a firm, like if we get a hold of somebody, say Friday or a Monday, 2 weeks to turn around a response is gonna be very tight.
That's tight.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Liz, how that goes. with
That's
companies.
very tight.
That's-
I
So
mean, a
3
month
weeks?
is usually nice,
3
but
weeks.
3 weeks is not unreasonable for things.
Well, how about the end of February then?
And then it's a leap year, so they get an extra day.
Right,
That's
exactly.
true. That's. true.
So it would be the 29th, which would be a Thursday. That would be. So I'll make a motion to extend it to the 29th of
Are
February.
you good with that?
Neil's.
I would prefer, everything is kept on a Friday, I think, almost, so.
Yeah,
Mark-
okay, so the
Yeah,
first,
say first.
so the first, March 1st.
Caitlin, do you think 3 weeks? You were gonna chime in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say that, basically what got said, which is, you reach out, you talk to them Friday or Monday, then 2 weeks is a really short turnaround. So I'd recommend, closer to a month. I think from just a town board perspective, only one applicant would be concerning. I mean, if we understand the market conditions a little bit better, what I've heard is that there's a lot of work out there right now. So that might be what we're facing, is that, these firms are, from what I'm hearing is they're growing and there's a lot of work to do. So they might not be hungry. But I'd really like to feel like if it's going to the town board, if there really is only, one firm, we're going to really want to feel like we did everything we could to get a good quality, response. So I think a month-ish is reasonable.
Then I'll change my motion to March 8th, which is a month.
Okay, everybody good with that?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
So that is for, thank you, Diane, that is for extending to March 8th. Can we talk about who's gonna do the reaching out to the town and whoever did the driving? Like, who's gonna do that? Because we just said we would do that in the next few days. Is that something we decide in this committee or? Because I have my email.
I don't mind doing a little cold calling. I'm trying to figure out when I can do that. I can definitely, I'm gonna be on a train on Friday. I could do it like next Friday. And I might be able to do like an hour this Friday afternoon. So should I contact? Is there like a list? Should I? come
Yeah,
up
that's
with
what
a
I was
list?
wondering. Is there a list of companies?
Well, I think Roxanne was just saying whoever did write-in.
Right, I don't know if I have that list in front of me or maybe you guys do, but we were looking at that.
You know, I
have
could
a
sell
list.
them and like
Okay.
how exciting it would be, like what a great town we have and like it's this wonderful moment for us and they could be part of this, Great.
If we know that there were local firms, I would say, I mean, it sounds like the priority would be local, where you could make a phone call easily and have that conversation and easily. How many calls do you think you can?
I could probably make like 5 and 5, maybe,
5 on Friday, 5 on
on
Monday?
the following week, yeah.
So did the village use a consultant when they did their company?
They did,
EDS, is that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they did EDR? The same
EDR.
that Dryden did?
Yeah,
Right, so
Oh.
definitely that should be one.
I used to know someone there.
We had Colliers Engineering and Design, which is where Bergman is now, I don't know, but they're Syracuse, Rochester, Binghamton, and they did our previous work, Bergman. did. So perhaps them.
In
I
fact,
don't- I
I'll
mean, I
talk
don't
to
know
Jess,
these
because
other
she
ones.
worked with them, like, she'll have names of people like
Yeah.
EDR.
Okay,
Right, and you could ask the planners at Dryden too, because they're really helpful between. And I mean, I don't know, but maybe you guys know who else might be local to target.
Yeah, there's several people on that list that have,
Do you have do you have it in front of you?
offices in Syracuse and Rochester, Stantec.
Woodbridge, I think was
Yes.
some things, but it was more engineering, I'm
Yeah.
not sure about the planning. We did a road.
well, that's helpful to have
Came a long
those two,
time
and then
ago.
you have some other meals that maybe you can provide to Rose, so she can do that. Thank you, Rose.
I think it's worth trying to get some handle on if they have seen it, what, because I think that if it's just too big, it's too much, it's too something, if we hear that, then we had talked about if we got that kind of input, or if the cost was so high that we would come back and look at because some of us, I know Rebecca did, and I expressed that it's such a huge, comprehensive, incredibly detailed document that perhaps we can hone it down if we need to, if we can't get, appropriate consultants to help us for our costs. So I think it's good to find out, probe them a little on.
So the
If they've seen it and
objective,
looked at it.
yeah, if they've
To
seen
getting
it,
some ideas that we can go back to say, well, is there a way we can improve our chances of getting a scope of
Yeah.
people?
so asking if they've seen it, if not, can you send it to them? And if so,
Yeah.
was there an obstacle to them
Yeah,
applying?
do they have
to
some input
basic?
for us as to why they're not, as Caitlin said, maybe they're just too busy, or maybe they felt like it's outside their scope, or they could, I don't know, whatever, I think it's worth finding out.
Okay. So Niels will send you some, thank you for
Okay.
doing that.
And then we gave them to the end of Friday, so I won't have a firm idea until 4 or 5 o'clock on Friday.
Oh, so
Well, I
on
think
Friday,
we should-
people might be,
Could probably get an announcement out now,
Yeah.
We could do that,
like tomorrow,
Yeah.
not like,
and we could still call them now anyway,
right, I guess we heard.
just so that that one firm knows.
Yeah,
if
are
They
you-
need to.
Yeah.
Step back a second and not rush to get something to us on Friday, they have.
Yeah.
plans out.
Do you?
And tomorrow is fine, cause that's something we're used to, is last minute changes.
Yeah, right.
So,
Is
Okay.
that something you can do, Niels? Reach out to that firm and let them know?
Yep.
Before, 4:55 on Friday.
And the other ones as well, that did.
Yeah.
Yeah, any that showed interest, maybe if you could send an email, that'd be great, okay. Okay, so we have a new date, we have a plan for some outreach.
do we, so extending this to the 8th. If we're starting to get feedback, will you be able to summarize for us? Cause if we have to make changes to the RFQ, we're probably not gonna have a meeting before the 8th.
Mhm.
Which means we're gonna have to do some of this either hold a quick meeting or chat over email. But we're gonna have to kind of, as a group, figure out what we're gonna do,
Mhm.
depending on what the responses are.
Yeah.
So,
I will take notes,
okay,
Yeah.
and I'll try to make it so I can.
Then send them.
Yeah.
always.
Yeah, and then just let us know, and if we need to have if it sounds like we have to have a quick meeting, or we have to do something on email or whatever, we could do it over Zoom or whatever we could.
Yeah, maybe we can even later look at our calendar and sort of tentatively see what might, since it's such a complicated group. might work just in case it's needed. So
Yeah.
hanging out there as a Zoom,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah,
Just because if we're gonna have to. If it comes down
That's a
to
good
something
point,
in
yes.
the RFQ, then we wanna make sure we get the RFQ updated before the 8th, so that they could respond to the updated.
Right.
That might.
And not
actually
3 days
extend
before that,
the
yeah.
timeframe.
yeah,
So we probably need to be a little flexible in this, depending on what we're getting. No firm dates quite yet.
okay, anything else with the?
Only that with the renotice. Go ahead and do paper notice as well, publications.
Oh, like legal notices, yeah.
Do you think that the people that responded so far are responding to the legal notice in the newspaper or like an online?
Are you required to though, put the legal notice or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought it was like a public meeting thing or something.
But that's a good question. We've been asking that for decades. How much do people actually look at the printed press anymore versus
Yeah,
other sources?
It doesn't seem like these firms really do they?
Yeah, I
it
just
doesn't, but it feels
Googled
like,
it just a minute ago and came up
Papers?
a dozen times from Town of Ulysses, so
Yeah.
it's out there.
yeah,
And most of that, I'm gonna say, is probably because of the online version. It's not, yeah.
I just Googled it just to see if it would come up, and it came up, I don't know, probably half a dozen times
Oh, yeah.
to the Town of Ulysses, so it's out there.
Yeah, maybe we.
I was gonna say, maybe we hold off on the paper.
Okay.
Just save
Save
money.
yeah,
for
save
something
money and.
That's coming down the line.
So, and also you should let Carissa know because it's been in the, you know, the updates,
Hmm.
the town's e-newsletter, so we, that the deadline. She can-
She
Yeah.
can update the Facebook page too.
Facebook, and I will reach out to the online ones that are free at least.
Yeah.
Like APA and stuff.
so will you let Carissa know, Niels?
I changed.
Okay. Okay, anything else on the RFQ? I'm glad there's at least one. Interesting.
Yeah. Would be nice if there were a few more.
It would be nice. Be good. Is that it? Ready to move on? Okay. Next item is new business. So A is 2024 operational items, and under that, we have meeting schedule, committee rules, and tracking of hours. Are you leaving us on this also?
You might want to start with the meeting schedule for. At
For the next
least,
couple months?
Yeah.
Yes, Rebecca said no Wednesday,
Mhm.
through May, is she through, is that through? Okay. I am no Wednesday for March and April also.
Let's avoid Wednesdays then.
Let's avoid Wednesdays.
Well, that pretty much leaves Thursdays.
And then what's, yeah, is that what we said? It had to be a Thursday because there
Well,
were meetings
Tuesdays
on
are-
Tuesdays.
Monday.
Yeah, Tuesdays are no good because
Tuesday
planning
is
board.
planning or town board.
Right.
Mhm.
So
Is Monday
one or all
a
of us.
problem?
I
I just wanted this part of this discussion because I'm looking at my calendar.
Mondays are spotty, yeah, for me, but I
Yeah.
mean, that doesn't mean they can't work.
Nobody here's on the village. board.
Here, there's court on Monday, right?
yes.
For this
Yeah.
room. But I guess it would certainly be now, I think, so we have to be, unless I'm wrong and they change the schedule. There's usually court in this room.
On Mondays.
No, there's court.
The court what? Sorry, Caitlin?
There is court on Mondays, so
Okay.
that would be, it'd be better to do that Thursdays.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 4
Because
weeks.
sometimes they even use the conference room too, so.
Yeah, so the first week in March would be the 7th, and our due date would be, would we say, that, did we say the 8th or the 15th?
The 8th.
Yeah,
So, do we wanna meet on the 7th, or do we wanna wait till
We'll
after?
wait until after.
Yeah, wait until after,
Yeah, I think then we'll have them in hand.
then we'll have
hopefully.
things, hopefully, we'll have things
And
in
we can
hand.
review
have
like,
something in hand at
yeah,
least.
one or,
So March 14th is fine with me.
That's good for me.
How's that for everybody else?
Didn't have any lame brain excuses.
All right, you're the easy one. What about time? Diane and, Caitlin, that Thursday, okay for you, March 14th?
I'm actually going to be out of town that Thursday, but that's not a reason not to meet that day, so. I don't want to slow down the committee, but I will be in California.
Nice.
Looks like it works for me.
What time do we have? 5:30, 6:30?
I think 5:30 worked for folks.
Yeah.
Yep,
coming in.
5:30 is good.
Okay, all right, so 5:30.
Okay, on the 14th.
On the 14th. It shall be. Okay, so next meeting will be March 14th. We will hopefully review what we have. Will you communicate with you'll communicate with us beforehand, so we have some sense of what we're
Getting into.
working with. Yeah, did we get 20? Or, you know, you'll keep us posted.
I'll send out an email too on Monday, just to say, this Monday, to say, you know, what we got
Hmm.
Okay.
as well. I mean, because if someone did want to submit it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a few weeks away, right? So this is, so yeah, keep us posted, I don't know, in a couple weeks or something, let us know how we're doing, because if we need to do some additional outreach, or if we need to change the language, in the RFQ, then we'll wanna schedule something. Do we wanna schedule that tentative, like, gotta make some changes?
I think if we could just put it in, since there's so many blocked out days already, and
Yeah,
then it would help, and we could just say no. And
if we
it
said,
sounds like you're gonna make some of the calls pretty soon anyway, so if they happen to have any input, we'd at least have that, so.
if we had a tentative 2 weeks from now, except on Thursday. Like the February 22nd, just as a hold in case we need to have a conversation about the RFQ.
I could do it, it's a Zoom, right?
Can we just do it on Zoom?
Yeah.
Or what, I mean, I can Zoom, I will be out of town. so
That's
I can
February
call
break.
in.
Oh, it's February break. Okay, that's probably not good for
Oh, yeah.
people.
I don't know if other people are.
I can always have just an email conversation.
For the fifth, do
Okay.
you think even just the that's the end of next week, I don't know if we'll have enough.
Yeah,
Right,
Rose is making her calls next week. Okay, well,
Oh, I
let's
thought
just
you
play
were
it by
making them
ear.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow and Monday.
Yeah, so she might have somebody, I mean, we could just look at. Or the 29th, I guess.
Yeah, I can't do the 29th.
Yeah, I
That's
think
That's a
that's,
Thursday though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
But I think we'd wanna do it earlier than that.
No,
And I'll share, and maybe I'll have nothing to share.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
true.
or if it's Zoom, then maybe the 19th, we don't need to swing
Yeah.
then.
Well, let's just
Like a
play it by
Monday,
ear.
like the
Yeah,
so
19th.
let's,
by
we
ear.
won't, okay, so we won't bother scheduling a tentative. We'll just wait to hear from
Yeah.
Rose. And then if it sounds like a bunch of people said, oh, I was gonna, but it was prohibitive, whatever, then we'll set a time. Okay.
19th is actually a holiday.
So it's, oh, that's right, it is. And it doesn't block
Probably
out,
can't
right, yeah.
Yeah.
actually put the off.
Okay, so the 14th is the next one. Do we want to schedule April also?
Sure.
Which would be 4 weeks after that would be the 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be.
And maybe out of town, but it'll work.
We could. I could do it as long as we're done by 7. So,
So, okay, so April 11th. At 5:30.
Sure.
Okay. Everybody, does
Works
that
for
sound
me.
good? Okay. Great. Do we need to go any further? Do we want to go into May or?
Might be worth it.
Okay.
Just at
Busy
least to
time.
offer it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
May
one-
and June get crazy.
Yeah, so. 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be the 9th.
Second or the 9th?
The second would be 3 weeks out. The 9th would be 4 weeks out.
Okay.
You wanna say the 9th?
Sure, that works
Okay,
for me.
all right, as of now, and if we can revisit, like. We can confirm next time that it still works. Okay. So, May 9th. 5:30. All right. Anything else on that? Okay, committee rules,
So the committee adopted rules last year, so given that this is our first meeting, I don't know if members had a chance to re-review them. The only outline thing really is no one clamored up to be a spokesperson when and or if that time arises, so that's the only outline issue. So
Can you just remind us of what?
like a spokesperson,
Sorry.
like if the press wanted to chat about
Oh,
anything, it's good that there be one point of contact
Mhm.
that kind of can relate to them, what the committee's doing or feeling and thinking.
So we need someone.
does anyone want that position?
We don't.
What do you like,
Well-
scissors, yeah.
No one else will, but I mean.
I was
we need that.
pointing. at Elizabeth.
Me?
Yeah,
I would
well, you're
point-
also town
I am
board, so
for-
I would
you would
point
know
her.
the rules and regulations of what to say and what not to say.
Okay.
You're nominated.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I can do it if you want. I
Yeah,
know
we
the
can-
rules too, I used to. So,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not gonna be for a couple, I would not anticipate people reaching out for a couple months, so.
I don't think there's any rush to do this right now either, if you want,
Okay,
anyone wants to think about.
yeah, that's,
it's great that both of you are willing,
Yeah.
so thank you,
and I
Yeah.
think we could,
Either one,
yeah,
doesn't matter, but if somebody does it, yeah.
yeah. It's good to have a backup to.
Yeah,
in
it
case
could
one
be
person
both of us,
can't.
in case
Yeah.
one's not here or anything,
Exactly.
we just
In case one person
collaborate on
can't.
what's being said, if that works.
Baseball game,
they are starting soon.
so, all right, was there anything else on? Committee rules? Do we have
Are
to,
we continuing this discussion or are we set with alternating as needed?
I think that's. I guess I will defer to you whether we need to. Identify one specific contact and then just have the other person as the backup. That in coordination.
Okay.
Or we can just indicate that it's both Roxanne and I.
Either way, I'm happy to be the backup, but I mean, I think that then we should just have a procedure.
Yeah.
If either one, we should just copy the other one on whatever's said
Mhm.
so that we know, and so that it's easier to be the backup.
Exactly, so. we-
Yeah.
Yeah, or if there's some question, then we can communicate about what do you think is the best thing to say.
yeah,
So that's fine. You can list it that way.
Okay.
As long as we have a protocol of how to
yeah,
Yeah.
Good
you and I
idea.
can-
coordinate so
Yeah.
that we make sure that, I mean, the idea of just one person is that you ever have people saying different things. So
Exactly.
yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay.
Do we have to, so this rules, I see that we still have, obviously, we still have a placeholder for the consultant. Will we? We have to approve these or anything?
Ideally, yeah, but what I can do prior to the next meeting is just craft language for that,
Okay,
and then committee can approve it at that time.
and then we'll approve a modification once we fill in the consultant's name.
Consultant, yep.
Alright, because I did see Carla's been added.
Great.
Okay. So. We're not moving. Are we moving either?
If you want to. Go next one.
It's up to me, oh, I get to decide. Well, do we expect that someone's gonna wanna talk to someone before our next time we meet?
I haven't heard any chatter. From the
I'm
press.
really okay either way. We wanna just like put you guys in position and call it a day, I'm fine with that, but if you wanna wait. I'm good to it. feel strongly one way or the other. What's best practice?
I think it just depends if you want really exact wording that we haven't drafted yet, then,
Then we wait.
then we can
Okay.
tentatively approve it, and if something happens
Yeah.
to come in, then we do have a person, and then we can formally approve the language. If you want that at the next meeting.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. So we need someone to move to tentatively approve Liz and Roxanne as our,
Contact and
Spokesperson.
Yeah.
this is why we're creating the language. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
A second.
Great, all those in favor?
I,
Aye, any opposed? Great, so we have that tentatively in place. We will have official language next time that we will vote on again. And thank you.
Because it
Both
would
of you.
probably be good to actually just put in a couple sentences what we just said, so that it's clear how we're doing it.
Yeah,
especially if it changes.
Yeah.
Over the course.
Yeah,
yeah, official process is good.
yeah.
We're not, yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Tracking of hours is our next item.
Yep. So my understanding from chatting with Michelle is we don't have to capture anything for 2023. So don't worry about that. Um, 2024 moving forward, though, it's, I just sent out an email with a link. So if anyone spent any time in January, please complete that. It's fairly easy, but if anyone's tech adverse, you can always just give us a hard copy and we'll put that in. For
So
everybody.
you're counting the time here.
Well, not just here, but if you spend any time research or like
Your
what you're gonna be
withdrawal,
doing.
Or if you're.
Right, but you know that we're here at this time, so do we have to put down that we're
Yeah.
at the meeting?
Perfectly,
Okay.
yeah.
Alright, that's-
Or
Yeah,
like
just-
preparation for the meeting, reading extra materials, looking at
Okay.
anything, talking to
Right, sending an email,
other committees that you're on that you report about this.
you're
anything like
tracking
that.
quarter hour.
Preferably in 15, yeah. And round up, so if you're 7.5, just say it's 15.
Yeah, right.
Given the limitations of forms out, if you spend more than 5 different days in a month, that's its limit, so you'll just have to make another resubmission. If that makes sense. So,
And we're submitting that
Do
every
we
month.
use the same form? I mean, this form here?
yes, so there'll be a tickler reminder the first week of every month,
Yay.
so.
And is it due the last day of the month?
There's no hard and stuff out. Our recording that our processes is quarterly with DEC.
Okay.
So preferably, yes, I would say if you can do it the last week of the month, that'd be ideal.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
There it is.
So we're filling that out at the end of the month.
Or do you want it
With our-
every time we like at a meeting now, or do you want us to just do it? Because you have a date on it.
If you do it at the end of the month at one time, that'd be preferable, but you could do it every day too. I mean, it'll
It
track
would-
through
Yeah,
on our side.
okay. It
So
would
we
be
should have
easier.
some kind of tracking mechanism we're using on our own to then plug it into this at the end of the month.
I'll do it every time because I'll probably forget at the end of the month.
Because there was a spread, Michelle had, you had a spreadsheet originally.
Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
spreadsheet.
Right.
And we may not necessarily need to capture all that information, it sounds like from DEC.
Yeah, so we could use it still as our template to keep track if we want to.
Yeah.
and then enter it to that.
Yeah. Okay,
And if anything changes, Michelle will let me know and I'll let everyone else know.
I should be able to answer this question, but do we send out like our old master plan, comp plan when we send out the RFQ or like a link to it?
It is, it's, I think, in the very first paragraph.
Okay, all right. I'm just wondering, how did we turn people off? I was just looking at this map, does it look too big or too rural or?
No, I don't think it was necessarily anything that we turned them off on. I think it was just, it's busy right now, and so
yeah,
people aren't hungry for work. So,
Well, the problem is they just don't have people to do it.
and we don't,
Yeah, I mean, they might want to do it, but they just don't have the people to do it.
But maybe if it was less intensive
Mhm.
Yeah.
they would,
Yeah.
and we could still use that. You know, so we could consider that, you know, if that's a problem right now, we need to get a consultant, get going, we can't wait till. No one has any work, so we should reevaluate what
Right.
exactly it is that we really want and need, so we can move forward.
Yeah.
Because when I first looked at it, 27 pages kind of got my attention.
Yeah, I had a couple people say that to me, it's 27 pages.
You know,
Yeah, but there's a lot of information in there, and honestly, the details that we provided
Hmm.
should be very clear cut for cost.
Right,
So
good.
makes it, may be a little more work on their part, but it'll make it easier on ours, we have to compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
And make sure that one firm has the same scope of work as another firm with the, then compare the costing.
But
Well,
there's
any
a lot that
consultant would
they
want-
ask for too.
Yeah, any consultant would want to know exactly what they're gonna be doing.
I like
not,
the
you know-
27 pages, I've
Right, well, that's what I'm saying,
received
well, those
one
pages.
page ones
right.
lately, and I don't like this. Because everything's just up in the air and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
guessing on what the client is looking for.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
There's a middle ground, but let's see what the responses are and take a look.
Okay. So anything else on tracking of hours? We're all good, everybody knows what we're doing and we don't have to move anything, okay. Next steps?
Next steps. So we have talked about visioning exercises, the photo contests. We do have, maybe backtrack a little bit. So we have a listserv that's out there, and we have a number of people, maybe about 10 that are on the listserv. I have wondered if it's possible to maybe take Carissa's newsletter. I haven't chatted with her about that. I don't know if we can just take that same automatically, or if we should ask about that process, just to get people
Oh, take the
notified.
list, you
Yeah.
mean, and send it to the list? I mean. Oh. Yeah.
I would think maybe you could ask Carissa, but she could definitely, when we're in the new weekly newsletter, when we're talking about the comp plan, say there's also this other
Yeah.
listserv.
Yeah.
It might scare people off to keep being added to new listservs, but at the same time, if they want to get involved, they will, 100%, so. Maybe we do that first and see if we get people, and then we can always.
Yeah, does it need its own listserv? Does every committee have its own?
I don't know what if other ones do, but it's for major comp plan updates like this or sub-area plans, it's fairly standard.
Okay.
So yeah, we have about 10 people that are currently on there. And then we also have that check-in, the 2 to 3 questions that we did at the Winterfest, and we've had a couple responses. So that's going on there. I've wondered, until we get a consultant on board, if the committee might want to think about a monthly check-in, changing the questions up a bit, see what sort of
That's a good idea.
response we get. But yeah, we have those. So those 4 things. Anything else that the committee would like to think about doing as well?
Does that questionnaire get circulated with Carissa's newsletter? It does, right?
But we can,
But people still aren't.
there may be something where I can ask her if we can put it on the front page of the web page.
I was just
That's
saying,
something-
I think if we're the leading item of the newsletter, I don't know if people make it all the way through the newsletter.
Yeah, to
Speaking
read the
for myself.
headings. Yeah, just reading the headings.
So I feel like if we buy ad space and get to be the lead,
Yeah,
the headline, maybe we can get more response.
yeah,
like
well, and
that.
it makes sense to try to get people to join the listserv. And then we can really kind of push that sort of thing out there with our own listserv. What, other questions we want to ask the community.
Yeah, there's the link on our town website. There's a link to the comp plan update that if you click on it, the first item in the next link is the check-in questionnaire. But we could probably
We
Talk
should
to
name
Chris
it something else.
if we bring it, especially if we're bringing it in to like the opening page of the town website. There's the drinking water survey there, so we can put it together with that one too. And
To
just
me,
rename it,
check-in
yeah.
sounds like I'm signing up for, like, what is that? What would make someone click on check-in questionnaire? like I wouldn't put them there. They come and check in.
Yeah,
That's true.
town visioning or
Yeah, tell us your
Something-
thoughts or something, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe something more inviting,
That's a good one. Tell us your thoughts.
yeah.
Well, maybe you don't want that open ended.
Well, yeah, something that's a little more, like
Comp plan.
I would not have
update.
guessed that that's what that was. But,
I think if you call it, tell us your thoughts, then, I mean, the questions are right here.
Right,
yeah,
we can just ask them questions.
So, I mean, there's,
We could, maybe we could
There are
have
three
it say like
questions.
comprehensive plan being updated, tell us your thoughts or something, just so they know what, tell us your thoughts goes. with.
yeah,
Like a
right,
discussion
Yeah,
not just
board.
random.
Yeah, not like I'm really mad, tell me what you're mad about now,
not all
like,
in every
or,
topic.
yeah, what I love or not. but
That's
like,
true,
Could we actually
yeah.
do that on Facebook?
Our Facebook page puts information out, there's no. No, don't have it signed up for people to provide comments to us on Facebook.
Well, that
You put the
might be,
link, there, it was done on purpose.
Yeah.
oh, that's,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah, I can imagine.
that's a lot.
And don't know anybody. Would it be reasonable to reach out to this Nancy Cushman that sort of led the revolt against buying the land and her group to solicit their inputs? I'm not sure whether you want to do that or not, but she seemed to be able to organize. You know, when I was standing in line to vote, there was people there that hadn't voted in 2 or 3 years that they managed to rustle up to get their interest.
We hope to get everybody involved, I think, who's in the town, so.
I'm certainly game to take a whack as a new guy with no connections to try and get in touch with her to see if they'd be interested in looking at this and soliciting.
Who are you talking about?
This Nancy Cushman, it's
That's
this
not
Conso,
It's not-
it's the concerned
Wow.
Ulysses
Yeah,
taxpayers. and
Yeah, I was
voters
wondering who you were
group.
talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah,
she's
Susan
apparently the
Rose.
one that started this, but
I think,
I'm-
I mean, getting people to, I think what we're hoping for with this check-in is to have really everybody in the town provide their insights, if
Mm.
that's,
Well, soon it's spring and the farmer's market will be open and
Yeah.
maybe we can actually put a table there and put some information and be able to talk to people.
yeah.
Because that's,
Have to, I think, cause this isn't like an election thing, right? I know there's some rules about.
Yeah, I don't know what their rules are about that, but we could ask, I mean, we.
it's not an election, no.
No, I know, but they're like in terms
If
of
it's-
political events at farmer's market, and I don't think this is.
Well, this is not political. It's
but
not
The whole
political.
town.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna have, I mean, we have in the past had a sort of an Earth Day event there and whether we can pull up it again. Our committee is gonna be talking about soon. And so if we do that, that's a month before the farmer's market opens. It's an Earth Day, April, so we can potentially have something there.
It would just be a table with information maybe, and maybe some questionnaires people can answer and they can talk to somebody
And-
about it.
And also the, sort of the theme of that Earth Day thing has a lot to do with sustainability in the town. And then
Hmm.
we can, highlight that part of this update is to add sustainability elements, which were missing last time, which we, got the grant to do. And also that's a good reason that, we could have it there. It connects with the overall mission of
Yeah,
that,
that's a great idea.
event. So I
And there's
hope that we can
donuts.
still do it, but.
I wonder if we could do it at a few other places. Because I know like Stick and Stones, they sometimes have people there that give out information. We could do that on a Wednesday, because I think that's their pickup day. And then there's a couple of restaurants that we might be able to, if they let us, stand there for a few hours to give out information.
And Carl, I don't know if that group is still active. It was kind
yeah,
of formed for that
they
one
seem to
particular
come up,
reason,
yeah.
but, I mean, I don't.
That's
think-
why I
it-
figured I would start with her as a point of contact, but I
yeah,
wanted to
I mean,
run
we
it.
want everybody's opinions.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
So-
that's why I thought I would check in first, because I don't know
Yeah.
anything about the town and the long-term relationships and all this, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanna get everybody's thoughts that wants to share their thoughts.
What about, since, it's gonna take us a while to get a consultant, considering maybe. We had talked, I think, about Rebecca was gonna write it, or we were gonna write a little blurb, some kind of engaging blurb. But like maybe making a postcard, I mean, it would cost some money, but not that much, and it might be worth it. Sending a postcard type mailing
Mm.
out to everybody, to all the town addresses, just saying, hey, we're doing this. You know, we're launching it, we have these places that you can share your thoughts. Here's where you can keep track, here's where you can, you know, get on our mailing list. Just so that everybody, you know, nobody can then say, I mean, you know, get your mail list.
Hmm.
We didn't know you were doing this at all.
Right.
And then when we get the consultant and we start having the public meetings, because I guess there's not enough appetite for having them until we have the consultant. And raised that last time, but we're all busy, I can see. Then at least we're out there getting information, we're letting people know that it's happening, you know, make it kind of cheerful and, you know, it's not that hard. We made a postcard for the
Yeah.
drinking water survey.
Well, I was gonna ask you
And-
about that. How much was it?
I don't remember off the top of my head. But
Was it
would be a
really
little bit
expensive?
More than that, because we would mail it to everyone in the
Mhm.
village too. And we did not mail it to people in the village because that drinking water service in the village is a different.
Yeah,
drinking water
yeah.
source.
Did you get a good response?
Yeah, we got like, I think we got like a 35% response rate. to
Yeah, I
the
did it
survey.
online. I didn't.
Yeah, right, but that was to let people know.
Yeah.
That it was out there, so I can look, I mean, we have all those numbers about the cost, so I can send that by email, and maybe if we wanted to think about that, you know, we could see. Where Rebecca's at, we could work a couple little drafts, and the committee can think about it before our next meeting, because
sounds great.
that might be a way to consolidate it
Get
all,
people
and we'll
to
keep
jump
all the
in.
other things we're doing too, but
Yeah.
we can reach everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, you can put the
Colorful,
meeting
cheerful.
dates that we have, and
Yeah.
if we're ever gonna do any information, we can put it on that. You can put a lot on a little postcard.
Mhm.
No, well, I think we put like reasonable, like they weren't the tiniest ones that really get lost in the mail, but they were like
Yeah,
this size, and you can get, you know, a company like Mailboxes to do it all. If you have the design, you just give them the addresses, which we have,
yeah.
and you know, it doesn't really cost that much more because they have a bulk mailing permit
Yeah,
and we don't. So, yeah, I sort of look more into that if you want,
Okay.
and send email to the committee about.
yeah.
That's worth a try.
It's an idea, just it's something that gets us.
AI
gets us
make it
going.
so we don't need a designer to do anything.
Yeah.
Right, well, now that's true. And
Well, you need to just write the whole company.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Right. So, so
Um,
to start towards getting people to know these things are there, another. thing
Yeah,
for
that's a
it.
good idea.
Okay.
What is, and I know we're like 2 minutes from what our
Yep.
goal is of meeting time. What happens to, so you said we had like 2 come in, where do they go and what happens to them? The check-ins,
Oh,
when people submit their thoughts and their ideas in the check-in.
yeah, so eventually, so rounding back to the SharePoint, so. It's work in progress, it's town halls, but I'll make a more concerted effort to try to get this all done, so. The biggest concern is that there will be some information. That, you know, is purview to comp plan committee, but maybe not necessarily accessible, should not be accessible to the public, so that's the. Making sure we have those nailed down is crucial, so I think to Roxanne's. Question is, it's not based on, it won't be based on emails, it's just based on, so. We have we have the main comp plan steering committee, and then we have another. SharePoint site for the comp plan, each of those will have subsites with their directories and so on and so forth, so each of those are gonna have permission levels. So I'm just making sure. Through testing that there isn't gonna be any sort of weird backdoor, because I have done that in the past with other places.
Yeah,
So hopefully that'll be done soon, but that's where that information will be.
okay.
Okay, good.
And it's a spreadsheet or just a PDF or,
It comes out, so the reports come out in Excel,
okay,
but you can easily
yeah,
put it out.
just
Yeah,
curious.
what reports?
For the check-ins, when
responses.
people,
Oh.
the 2 that we
okay.
have or whatever.
Oh,
you know.
yeah, so that'll
Yeah.
accumulate there.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we have a place to see it. Okay. Anything
So you'll
else?
just make sure and work with whoever doesn't have access right now.
Yes,
That's good.
and you should all get a generic email from SharePoint or Microsoft or something, yeah, to them.
I know I got access after the last meeting. One of them.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Michelle set it up for me for a project I'm helping her with, and it worked fine, so. I don't know why, but it just kept saying we need authorization every time I used the link you sent, so.
Anything else?
I'll make the
Just
motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Thank you, Mo. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?